Joining me now is Mark Letestu, and as of the last probably 12 hours or so, he's the Bill Masterton Trophy nominee on behalf of the Pro Hockey Writers Association. The Winnipeg chapter is the one that nominated you, Mark. And first off, how did you find out, and how does it feel to be the nominee for the Winnipeg Jets?
I found out Brownie, the PR representative for the team, just texted me to let me know that I'd been selected and that the writers had chosen me and that I would be doing some press for the day on it. So I did some interviews about it with some of the writers, deservedly so. I mean, they're the people that put me in that position. So it was nice to talk to them, give them some of my thoughts on the award, and then obviously thank them, for considering me for the award. But it's a really cool honor. I think it's, the caveat is it's something negative or some sort of adversity has to happen. And, you come through it on the other end. But after taking some time to digest it and see what the award's about and who it represents, it's something really cool to be a part of and to be nominated.
And you mentioned adversity. Obviously, I think a lot of us, maybe yourself included, really kind of almost memorized the definition of myocarditis at the start of the season just because of what happened. Can you take us kind of back to that day or when you kind of found out? Because I know it was something that was maybe some irregularities were noticed in training camp, but when you found out that, okay, this is what it is, kind of what went through your mind emotionally, and then the support maybe that your family played kind of throughout getting you kind of through, especially those early days.
Yeah, well, and as you said, myocarditis, I'd never heard of it. I don't know what it is. Typically, as athletes, we don't have a lot of issues like that crop up. So to get, through training camp, there's some irregularities in testing, but nothing definitive or enough evidence to shut me down at the time. And the doctors were going through every protocol and getting opinions, and they really did their due diligence on me, which I appreciate, because if it goes on any longer, who knows? So eventually all the testing gets done, and we kind of come to this conclusion that it's myocarditis. And Rob Millette, the trainer, he calls me in, and he's got the doc on the phone. They tell me what I got, and in typical hockey player athlete fashion, you just ask for the time frame. And typically we're in weeks. We're 2 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and it's broken, it's healed. You go back and play, and he said just 6 months. So that's the season, right? You start pushing ahead 6 months in your mind where the season's going to be. Well, it's playoff time, and your season's over basically. So you take a couple, probably 24 hours, 48 hours to digest it. And as you said, you got your family's support, but I'm living in Winnipeg without my family. So I got my teammates, I got my coaching staff, the support system with the team. And they took care of me early on, lending support. And, they help you get through the first little bit of it. And then obviously they send me home to be with my family, which probably was the most important thing for me in my recovery. Just take your mind off not being able to do what you love to do, but at the same time being at home, really taking care of your primary responsibilities as a father and husband.
And then slowly but surely, I mean, I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but I remember coming to practice one day. I think I was early to the rink, and I remember seeing you out for a skate and being like, wow, like all of a sudden, Mark Letestu's out for a skate. And then you start thinking, well, what does the return timeline look like all of a sudden? And Paul Maurice, as he usually is, pumps the brakes on a lot of things, just saying like, listen, like he's can only get his heart rate to a certain point. We got to make sure that we're doing this slow, we're doing it right. But kind of how did it feel for you to be able to even just get back on the ice, let alone, maybe the time frame that was still ahead of you?
I think when you get an injury like this and you get time away, certainly I gain perspective on what's important and taking care of my family and all that kind of stuff. But you also learn and gain perspective on how much you love what you do and what kind of a privilege it is to play in the NHL. So when you miss that for a while, you really want to get back. You see the goal of 6 months, and when I went to the Mayo Clinic for that last checkup and got the all clear, that was the best news I had all year. To be honest, I didn't think I was going to be clear as quickly as it was, but to go in there and to hear that we'd done the right things as far as what you really can do, and that's to really back off all the training, and that helped flush all the inflammation, and then that was that was an awesome day. Then I knew I had to come back. I asked, I think I was in on a Thursday, and Mullet, I asked when I could come back, like maybe I could come back on Monday, get my stuff, and he's like, I want you back sooner. Could you be in on Saturday? So it was just a really cool feeling to be wanted and needed again, and to be around and kind of get back into the group. And like I said, when you get back on the ice, that was just another step. Whether it was a yellow jersey or in a tracksuit or what have you, it was just really cool to be out there and feel like you're helping and contributing again.
Couple more for you. Everybody's got their own kind of season pause story of where they were and whatnot. You were with the Manitoba Moose at the time. Just curious, what that kind of part of this timeline was like. You were kind of getting ready to really take a big step in your recovery and see some action, and then all of a sudden, like a lot of athletes, all of a sudden it just everything stops. Curious kind of what that was like, given all the work that you had done to get to that point even.
Yeah, the timeline's funny because I remember watching from home the Oilers-Jets game, and I want to say maybe it was in the first or second intermission. I'm not sure which one. Rudy Gobert all of a sudden is tested positive, and the NBA is shutting down. And, you could tell right then that the world was probably going to change, and especially sports, but it wasn't moving quick enough that the 6 a.m. flight to Milwaukee the next day would be canceled. So we ended up flying to Milwaukee to play the Admirals. You land and you hear that they're shutting things down. So we stayed a couple hours, had a coffee in Milwaukee, and flew back. So that was disappointing for me because getting into that game, it's one thing to start skating and then you get into a full practice. And the next step of playing games, it's just not fair to the group in Winnipeg, right? They've worked so hard, and it seems like they've fought all year to get into position where they're competing for a playoff spot. You don't want to be in at 80% or 75% or 90%. You don't want to hurt their chances, as a teammate. So you don't want to be out there before you can do it. So that there was an opportunity to kind of see, where I was at physically, to go with the Moose and play, and then, maybe progress from there. So to get that close and to have it kind of shut down on you, it was just another one of those, just one of those years. It just wasn't going to happen. But it was really nice to push it that close and know that was going to at least be a possibility.
And last one for you. I mean, obviously we talked about the myocarditis, how close you got to the return. How are you feeling now, and kind of how are you spending the pause, and how's the family?
I feel great since I've had the all clear in February. It's been out of my mind, which is nice. And it seems like mentally, once you're kind of free to that, you kind of let yourself go. Whether you're working out or you're playing on the ice, you're not concerned about, maybe a tightness in your chest or, anything like that. So mentally to be free of it has been key. But we're in the little league season here in Ohio. So I'm full on baseball dad right now. I'm going ball diamond to ball time and baseball tournaments on the weekend. So I'm enjoying as much time as I can with my kids and my wife, because we got a bit of a moving target for when I'm coming back, because there's obviously a focus on that and training and skating and being ready for game one of the playoffs whenever that day comes.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to that day as well. So, Mark, congratulations once again on the nomination, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.